Welcome back to the Rekla Reflections podcast. Today is International Youth Day. So, in honor of this day, we're going to dive into one of the biggest challenges our students are facing in this generation, which is digital balance. As teachers and leaders, how do we help young people grow up in a world where screens are everywhere, right? Without losing focus or relationships or well-being. I have the fortunate situation that my children are already adults, so they didn't have screens when they were younger. And we made a very intentional choice as a family to not have TV and videos a big part of their lives. But even now, as adults, I can see how stuck or how addicted they are to their screens, even though they didn't have it when they were younger. So, how do Finnish pedagogy and CBC give us the tools to guide that balance? For those who are not familiar with CBC, CBC is competency-based curriculum, and it's part of Kenya's Vision 2030. So has a lot of similarities to Finnish pedagogy. So I often am addressing the CBC audience as well as my Finnish audience. So I wanted to combine those two today to make sure that I was reaching both groups in our talk. So, why does digital well-being really matter? Let's get into some of the research. Just some quick facts. Right now, on Common Sense Media, which is a website, they track that teens are spending up to and over 7 hours a day on screens. It not only impacts their physical body, but it also affects their mind. So their focus is changed. Their sleep patterns are different and their peer connections, right? Instead of face-to-face conversations, they're online chatting or in Discord or in a room where they're discussing things with their friends. So it's a very different style of connection. And the answer is not to ban digital usage or punish them if they sneak, an extra hour in or whatever. What we want to do is help them understand that they are students of agency, right? They are the ones choosing their path. So we need to give them trust, give them student agency, and we need to help them reflect, right? Even at home, this works with homeschool families as well. We want to reflect on what they are doing, get them to look at, okay, so I spent 3 hours, watching a TV series this evening. I missed out on blah, 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 right? And you help them understand I didn't get my chores done. So blah, 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 right? So we want to help them reflect. If they're younger, if they're older, just encouraging them to reflect and help them understand that helps them to understand what they're doing with their lives. How does CBC tie in? Two of CBC's core competencies are self-management and digital literacy. So again, we're looking at two approaches, Finnish and CBC, and we can see how they align with each other and how they support more intentional use of digital screens. So I want to share with you 3 practical strategies that you can use in the classroom. These are Finnish aligned as well as they meet the CBC competency expectations. So the first one is called a class reflection circle. This is where we invite students to map their digital habits. It would be even interesting to use the KWL chart, right? So get them to imagine, okay, this is how much I think I am using my digital time, spending my time using digital screens. Then have them look up their usage because every phone, every computer, every device tracks, right, the number of hours that they're doing things. So then have them research and look up the actual hours that they are spending. And then do the L, what they have learned from this. Oh, I thought I was spending only 3 hours. Really? My phone says I was spending 5, right? So it helps them to see the realities as opposed to what they imagine them to be. The second is a digital detox challenge, right? So this is pretty common. One evening or a weekend a month, be device free if they can manage, or just take it one step at a time and do social media free, right? Step away from social media for 2 days and see what happens. Follow that with, again, a reflection where they can see, wow, I really got a lot done, or I feel better about myself, or I'm not so tired, or I slept better last night because I wasn't on the screen at bedtime. So it just helps foster autonomy and responsibilities. And then the other one would be peer mentorship. So this would be a really great school project where you can do cross age groups. Older students would take the lead with younger students and have these kinds of discussions with them, have the creating strategies and ways to use their devices in a healthy way. And what this does for the older students is it builds leadership. What it does for the younger students is it gives them a model or an example to follow. And at the same time, it helps the older students and the younger ones to belong, right? When this is in one of my previous lesson bundles, behavior and belonging, when we give kids the opportunity to feel like they belong in a class or in a school or in a community, it motivates them just intrinsically, that you don't even have to have external motivation. It helps them internally to want to be a part of what's going on and to make things better. So, yeah, I briefly mentioned the behavior and belonging bundles. So, you can easily go this week on Rekla. You can see that I released the behavior and belonging lesson bundles all the way from grade 1 and 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 12. And then I did go ahead, if there are any schools out there listening, if you guys want just the whole kit and caboodle, I went ahead and bundled a grades 1 to 12 package collection. So you should be able to see those on the store at Rekla. These bundles are designed to help schools build classroom community where every student feels safe, valued, and responsible. From grade 1, where they create circle agreements, to grade 12, where they do peer leadership, which is what I was talking about earlier with older students mentoring younger ones. Everything in the lesson bundles are practical application. They're student-centered, they follow the Finnish pedagogy, and they are aligned with CBC competencies. So whether you're in the Finnish realm or in CBC realm or just in a school that doesn't follow anything in particular, these bundles would really promote healthy mindset, behavior, and belonging in your class. So if you're ready to strengthen your classroom culture, you can explore the full collection now in the Rekla store. Just in closing, they'll just do a quick summary. Digital well-being and belonging, they go hand in hand. When students feel safe and connected in the classroom, they're more willing to reflect, they're more willing to take risks, and to realize they need to find balance in their own lives. So that's the Finnish secret, right? Not more control. We don't need to bring the devices to school and then take them away and put them in a cupboard until they are allowed to have them. We want the students to have trust and ownership of their devices and their time. So thanks again for tuning in to our second podcast. I am enjoying sharing my expertise with you. Just to introduce myself, which I never did in the first podcast, but again, my name is Vanessa, and I have been doing education for over 30 years in Finnish pedagogy. And I am now trying to share that knowledge globally with teachers and schools everywhere to try to change and improve the educational experience for all students around. So let's keep building schools where students don't just learn, but they lead and belong.